How are you doing? I hope you and I hope your family are doing well. I hope your team is doing well. These are crazy and interesting times, and I'm sure you use that language like I do often when you're talking to other people. So I wanted to create a video to you, our member, and I want to say thanks for being part of our world, and thank you for just helping us get to where we've got at Service Autopilot. And please know that we are doing everything we can during this time to continue to work diligently to deliver to you a better and better product, a better experience, a more simple product, and the functionality that you're asking for. So in terms of creating a video and talking about some ideas or sharing some ideas, there's just so much information out right now, and there's so much noise and there's so much about the loans that are available to us as owners of the businesses. And so I don't want to talk about any of those things. I just want to talk about maybe a few things that I'm sure some are talking about, maybe 4 things that I'm thinking about quite a bit. And so I'll run through a couple. So one that does get talked about a lot is I think about my teams at my lawn care company and pest control company, City Turf. And I think about my teams at Service Autopilot, those that are serving you. And one of the things that I most worry about or think about is their safety. And so we're seeing some very interesting things across our members, and I'm very thankful for all the relationships I have because we've now been in business for 10 years, so we have lots of relationships across the Service Autopilot membership base. I have just tons of relationships in the world of Service Autopilot Academy. And I would say across the board that our members are putting a priority on the safety of their team. So at Service Autopilot, I'm in my kitchen right now. I work kind of between here and the den, depending on how much noise my kids are making, or my wife. She doesn't make that much noise, but depending on more my boys, how much noise is being made from the boys, or maybe a better way to say it is how much I feel like I'm annoying my wife by being on the phone 8 hours a day. And so sometimes I'll move to a different room, the den in our house, but I work often in this room right here. I'm at the kitchen table. And that's where our Service Autopilot team is at. They're in their apartments and their homes and wherever they live serving you right now. And so I think about that. 3.5 weeks ago, the team went home. And I'm sure even after the ban is lifted, we won't all immediately rush back to the Service Autopilot office. At City Turf, my lawn care company that I don't run, that we have an awesome team that runs that business. Philip is the leader in that company, and they've worked very diligently on distancing themselves inside the office and separating, and many team members work from home, but you still, like you, have the challenge of working in the field. And so how do you get just 1 or 2 individuals into a truck? How do you get the teams to load their equipment in a staggered fashion? How do you handle all of those things? And so team safety is one of the things that I just can't encourage you enough to be thinking about. And I'm sure you are. It almost feels pointless to have that conversation. What worries me most is, and I will tell you from looking at the data in the Service Autopilot world, we serve the lawn care industry is the biggest portion of our business, the green industry, and the second biggest part of our business would be the cleaning industry. So if I were to guess, I'd say we have 3,000 members in the green industry, 400 members in the cleaning, 500 members in the cleaning industry. I'm not quite sure of the number. And then we have a variety of members across across plumbing and things like septic tank cleanup. We've had some members in the yacht industry. We've had members in, you name it, in all kinds of different industries. And so when we look at what's going on in the industry, our green industry members are holding up the best. And for our members in the cleaning industry or the interior plant industry, I feel for you. I don't even think we can possibly understand the situation that you're going through right now. It's not anything like what the lawn care industry is going through, the outdoor services companies. So I feel for every team member in those industries. And I know everyone is thinking about safety. And so one of the maybe best practices that we've seen, and it's not really safety, but what we're seeing really strong communication with our members, communicating to their clients, communicating to their team. We see a lot of members frequently having their teams take their temperature. They're putting one person in a truck or two people in a truck. They're communicating with their client what they're doing. They're telling their clients that we are doing these things inside our business to protect you. We had to have a HVAC company out at our home the other day. Our AC unit was out, and they showed up literally in full-on masks. And those, while weird, those are things that give a homeowner comfort. And I think these are the best practices. Caring for the team, separating the team, and then telling your client, I keep saying member because you're my member, but telling the client what you're doing to protect them, to care for them, that you're thinking about them. Here are the things we're doing. I think those are absolute best practices. 3 additional things that we're seeing right now that I think are across the board best practices is and if you're in the green industry, you might check out the Lawn Care Millionaire channel on YouTube, where I put out lots of videos. And I speak to this exact topic on the Lawn Care Millionaire channel. But you might think about the concept of buying time. So we have a responsibility to our team to buy time. And I'll explain. We have a responsibility also to our families to buy time. And I'm speaking as an owner or as a leader on the leadership team, the executive team within an organization. Right now, we are facing a situation where none of us know. I don't care if you think this is a overhyped issue, or you think this is literally going to be over in the week and everything is going to spike back up and everything will go back to normal. Whatever extreme we all live in, the reality is that we don't really know what's going to happen. I can't make any guesses and predictions. Of course, I have my theories, but I don't know, and you don't know. And so as leaders, our responsibility to our team, to all of the people that work inside our organization, is to protect them and to buy time. And by time, I mean, and again, you can check out one of my more recent Lawn Care Millionaire videos, that is to take a very hard look at our profit and loss statements, to take a very hard look at our payroll, to take a very hard look at a number of things inside our organization and say, where have we been putting off hard decisions? Where have we been putting off hard conversations, and to clean that stuff up right now? Because by cleaning it up, we give ourselves a bigger cash cushion. Or in some cases, we make our balance sheet more healthy so that at the bank, we can keep that line of credit or grow that line of credit. I think of the government loans to small business right now as an insurance policy. If that's something that you could take part in, I personally think it's worth taking part in, because you're buying yourself time via an insurance policy. So my encouragement right now is around this buying time, because when you buy time, and what I mean by buy time is by improving your financial situation, you are buying runway, because we don't know at the end of the day, will this peak here in April and we'll all go back to work sometime in May? Or will it be June? Will it be July? Or maybe it's May, but then it resurfaces in October. None of us know. And so we need to build safety nets inside our organization. And safety nets are built through making sure that you have protected your organization as best you can in financially. And so that means looking at your P&L, your credit card statements, everything right now, and taking a hard look and saying, what don't I need? I almost don't want to say what I'm about to say, because I don't want to sell like a sales pitch, and that's not what I'm trying to communicate. But getting paid fast via credit cards is, to me, one of the most important things we ever did at CityTurf. Absolute most important things. And so is there a scenario right now? And again, I'm very sensitive even mentioning this. I debated not mentioning it, but I think it's imperative, because what's most important if we're protecting our teams and our families right now is to get paid fast and to give our clients a way to pay us on credit if they don't have a lot of money right now. And so what are those things you can institute in your company right now where you can get paid very quickly, you can get paid very reliably, and in essence, you're protecting the organization? And what are those expenses that you can look at inside the organization and say, you know what, boy, I don't even feel like I can possibly cut this thing, but if I cut it even for 60 days, it would have an impact on the business. Those are the very hard decisions that we're facing. I feel like that's a best practice that I see many of our Service Autopilot members implementing right now. They're taking a very hard look at their business. Two additional things that I think about a lot. As entrepreneurs, and not everybody's wired this way, and I'm wired this way, and John, my business partner, Service Autopilot's wired this way. We're very future oriented. And I'll tell you, as we've grown up as a Service Autopilot organization, we've tried to be a little less future oriented and more focused on the here and now of Service Autopilot. And I think that's what you'll see with V3, and you'll see with how we really iterate over V3 once it's released. We're really trying to focus on what are we hearing right now, what do our members need right now, versus what's the great, cool new future that could be created. Many of us, hopefully you can empathize with this, many of us are very excited about what's the future. Some are saying, hey, after we come out of this really challenging time, what are the opportunities? Because some of our competitors are going to be out of the market. Lots of new team members, potential team members, employees might be in the market. We're really thinking about the future, and it's very easy to live in the future and get excited. And I would encourage you as a best practice, and what I'm trying to follow, and what I see many of our very best Academy members and Service Autopilot members doing, is having a mindset of looking at today, the next 3 days, next 5 days, next 2 weeks. And of course you're thinking about June, but not so much at this moment in time thinking about how we're going to dominate the market, we're going to go buy companies, and we're going to capitalize on the destruction that's happened, but more thinking about we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So how can I best show up in my organization right now and lead my company? What is the most important thing I need to give them right now? What is the most important potential crisis that could happen Friday? Like, that's the concept right now. And so what I'm sort of arguing for here is how can we as leaders of our organization, be it the owners or the executive team, show up in a way that we're looking at the next 3 days, the next 5 days, the next 2 weeks, really focusing on the here and now versus living in the future. My point being that a lot of entrepreneurs, me included, want to live in the future. It's fun, it's easy, it's more exciting. But at this moment, my responsibility, your responsibility, is to show up in the present. It's to manage the unknown. Take our very best guess at what might happen Friday, what might happen in 3 Fridays, so that we as an organization are protected from whatever's coming, and we're protecting our teams and ultimately our families. And so my encouragement here, one of the best practices, is how can we live in the now, the next 14 days versus the next year or two? There will be a time to shift into that. There will be a time to say, okay, what's the great opportunity that has been created for all of us to go capitalize on that, or capitalize on? But I don't think we're there just yet. We're at a moment right now that we're at a moment at this time that we need to be communicating to our clients, we need to be communicating to our team, we need to be reassuring them, we need to be protecting the P&L, our financial situation, so that we can support them. So that's my third best practice. And then my fourth best practice is this, and I want to give credit where it's due. So in Academy, Service Autopilot Academy, Jason at Tree Pros said, he said something that has stuck with me ever since he said it. And that was, and I'm going to word it incorrectly, but it was, what would have to happen so that this challenge and this experience would be one of the best things that's happened to you in your business? And I didn't get his wording exactly right. That has stuck with me since he said it. I think it's one of the single best things that I've heard. And so my ask to you is this, like, what could happen? We're all going through negatives, we're going through hard times, we're having hard conversations. It's extraordinarily challenging for some of us. For those in the maintenance industry, it's way less challenging. Green industry and maintenance, it's way less challenging for those in the cleaning. We're in different places, but we're all going through challenge. No matter what that challenge is, what would have to happen that your business ultimately comes out of this in a better position financially, strategically, for your team, for the people you most care about? And what in your personal life, as many of us are sheltering at home, needs to happen? I'll just say, for me, I am taking this opportunity because I travel all the time. I have tons of business meetings, and with business meetings come lots of dinners and drinks, travel, navigating the airport is, exhausting. Living in hotel rooms is tiring. You don't make your best choices. I'm not getting to do any of that right now. We are eating at home every single day. We're not going out Friday and Saturday night with our friends. So we're not going out and having big dinners or drinks or none of those things that many of us have, all that stuff's ended. And so for me, this opportunity has been one of, which is kind of hard, eating as clean as I can and not drinking any alcohol and being as prudent as I can in those areas and getting a lot of exercise as best as I can. And again, I'm not saying I'm doing anything great or putting myself out there. I'm just saying I really took to heart what Jason said. And so my encouragement to you, and maybe your encouragement to your team, might be, what do we do to show up as leaders to our team? And what do we do as individuals within our organizations? And what do we do as, husbands and wives as representation to our family and our kids? What do we do right now to show up? We have this moment in time to, in my case, a lot of airport travel and hotels have been eliminated from my life. And while not easy to be perfectly healthy with my diet, this is an opportunity, and I've been doing that. That's just one little example, and I just use that as an example. What is your thing? What is your thing that you can do at your family, personally, what you can do as a representative to your kids? What is the thing you could be doing as a representative of your company? What could you be encouraging your company to do? Back to Jason's point, how could each of us come out of this very difficult, very challenging time? I'm not in any way not being empathetic to those that are in just incredibly difficult positions. But in spite of that, what can each of us do inside our organizations and inside our personal lives that when we look back on this moment in time, 3 years from now, we say, you know what, that sucked. But you know what? I grew in that time, and I was the representative to my family and to my business that I wanted to be. And so that's my almost single biggest encouragement. I'm not saying I've got it nailed and getting it all right. I'm saying that that's what I'm trying to show up and be each day, and I'm not nailing it, but I'm trying. Is there something there for you? Is there something there for your team? Maybe that's a best practice. So I hope that when you think back on this moment in time, a year from now, you say, you know what, that sucked. That was a terrible experience for so many, for so many team members and so many people that I'm friends with. But what I was kind of a bright spot in that and an example. And I see these areas in my life that I grew as a leader. I grew as a business owner because of the challenging times and decisions. And I grew in my personal life because some of the things that I did during that time. So I hope that will be your experience. That's the experience I'm trying to create. Again, not saying I'm nailing it, not saying I'm the perfect example, just saying that's what I'm trying to pull off. And I really credit Jason with that statement. I think it was one of the most important statements that I've heard. So those are my 4 big points. I hope they're of some encouragement to you. Maybe they're slightly different than what you've heard everybody else talking about, because I know there's a lot of noise right now. What's most important at the end of the day is our appreciation for you, our member, and our hope that you and your team navigate this very difficult time very successfully. And I will say my heart most goes out to those in the cleaning industry that are just in unbelievably difficult times right now. And I really feel for all of those individuals inside our Service Autopilot world. So thanks for being part of our world, and I wish you nothing but the success navigating this very challenging time. Thanks a lot.